Welcome to the Alpha Girl Confidence Podcast, where we are empowering youth female athletes to play and live confidently. My name is Shay, and each week I will bring you new episodes to teach you the strategies and tools that you need in order to live a confident, empowered life both on and off the playing field. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the show. I'm super excited for today's episode. I get super fired up and passionate when I talk about this. So let's do it. So I've been talking to a lot of parents and players lately. And one of the most frustrating things that you experience, and you can probably relate to this, is that you work so hard for something. You're training, you're getting extra touches, you're doing all of the things, but you're not always seeing results, right? There's something that's like keeping you stuck, something that's holding you back. And I see this all the time. I see this with players. And like I said, I'm talking to parents all the time. And I see that like they're doing the private trainings. They got strength and conditioning coaches and speed coaches. And still it's like, man, what is in the way? Like, what's stopping me? And absolutely, I agree. Like, yes, I am all for private coaches, speed coaches, strength coaches, all that stuff. It helps because increased competence leads to increased confidence. But for pretty much everyone that I talk to, your daughter is already doing all of the things. Or if you're a player, you are already doing all of the things, all of the physical things. And yet it's not always making a difference long term. You're doing the things, but you're not becoming more confident. And that's what I mean when seeing results, right? You're putting in all the work, but you're not necessarily becoming more confident, right? Maybe in little increments, but it's not that lifelong, unshakable confidence that we talk about. Right? So putting in those extra hours, yes, it's going to help you improve, but it's not always going to change the way you think. It's not always going to change your mindset or change the way that you perceive failure. And without the mental training at some point, at one point or another, you will get stuck. And only when you combine the mental training and the physical training will you really, really start stepping up and playing to your full potential. Like once you start working on the mental, all of the blocks that are happening, those are mental blocks. Those are not physical blocks. They're not physical limitations. They're mental limitations, right? And so I want to talk about like, why isn't mental training the norm? Why isn't mental training as common or as talked about or as used as physical training, as private training, right? So I got a couple theories. So theory number one is that most people don't understand the value of mental training. So we've all heard this before, right? Whatever sport you play, it's like the game is 80% mental and 20% physical. But ask yourself, do you spend 80% of your time spent training the mental? No, absolutely not, right? It's more like we spend probably 95% physical and 5% mental. And a lot of people probably a lot less than that. If you're listening to this podcast, you're maybe at like training 10% mental, right? But it needs to be more if you really want to break through, right? So I want to change how youth sports perceives mental training, because if it really is 80% mental and 20% physical, then shouldn't we train that way as well? Or at least make it a little bit more balanced, right? Okay, so number two, why it's not really the norm is really there aren't a lot of resources. I can count on one hand how many people are coaching mental performance, coaching confidence, all that kind of stuff, right? But if you go on YouTube, you can literally find a million videos on how to strike the ball better, on how to shoot the ball better, on how to play better defense, on how to be faster, on how to be stronger, right? There's so many resources in the physical space, and there's not a lot of resources in the mental space. It's a lot harder to find, right? You probably are only consuming for sure this one, because obviously you're listening to it, and maybe one or two other platforms where you're working on your mental training and your mental performance. Okay. And then number three is it really is, in my opinion, for a lot of people, it's an afterthought. So what I mean by that is that once they see there's a problem, in their confidence, that's when they go get it fixed. Right. But think about it. So I don't know how, if you're still young, you can still get this analogy, but it's kind of like a car, right? So think about it. We get our cars regularly, that's a really hard word, regularly serviced, right? So that it doesn't break down. We get our oil changed, we get our tires rotated, we do all this stuff so that our car doesn't break down. Like what would happen if you just wait? Wow. What would happen if you just waited until your car broke down and then you go get it fixed? That's going to cost you a lot of money and your car's not going to work very good, right? So why do we wait to work on the mental until something is broken? I'm not saying you're broken. You get my point, right? It's an afterthought. Mental training shouldn't be an afterthought. It shouldn't be something where, hey, there's a problem, I'm going to go get it fixed. It should be, hey, mental performance, even if I'm at the top of my game, is only going to make me better, right? It's something that you wouldn't just stop training, because if you stop training, you're going to get rusty. Same thing with the mental. It should just be part of your regular training. Regular is such a hard word for me today, right? It should be part of your regular training. Okay, so don't think of it as an afterthought. Don't think of it as, oh, I got a problem, I better go get it fixed. Or, oh, shoot, I'm not very confident, I better go get it fixed. Well, yes, you should, but you should start thinking about it even if you don't have a problem. But in my opinion, we all got problems with our confidence in one way or another. So take care of it. One more thing. So Russell Wilson, right? The football player, Seattle Seahawks. So he spends like $1 million a year on like physical training, mental training, all that kind of stuff. And so I was reading this article of him talking about his mental training. And this is what he said, quotes, "It's a massive part of it. I think it's a critical part. And I would say it's one of the most significant things I do," right? That's what he's saying about his mental training, that it's the most important thing that he does. Out of all of the physical stuff that he does, he's saying that the mental training is the most important thing he does, right? One of the best quarterbacks in the league, pro player. So think about that. If a pro player is working on their mental training, do you think it's important to work on? Probably so. Okay. And then number 4, why many people don't work on it or why it's underrated, is that it requires daily practice. And a lot of people are not willing to put in daily practice. A lot of people are willing to put in practice, but not consistent practice, right? So like working on your confidence isn't something you can just watch one podcast episode and all of a sudden you're confident, right? It doesn't work that way. Or read one book and you're confident. It's something that takes daily awareness and daily action. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it, which is like the whole reason why, what the purpose of this episode is, right? Is if you aren't putting in the work consistently, you're not going to see results. You're just not. So becoming more confident, it doesn't have to be hard, but it's simple. It's doing the little things on a daily basis. Small actions, small consistent actions is what leads to big results. So ask yourself, am I willing to do the small things every day to become more confident? If yes, you will be more confident. If no, it might be a little bit of a bumpy road. Okay. And I want you to think of confidence as like a thermostat. Every time you work on something, your thermostat raises. It gets higher, right? And even though you're going to have good days and bad days, you're still kind of creating this new foundation of confidence. And that's what happens when you practice confidence and when you make it part of your daily ritual. Okay. So really, if you want to play to your full potential while having fun, working on your mental game is an absolute must. It's the only thing that's going to help you break through your mental blocks and really become the player that you're meant to be. Okay, so if you're serious about improving the mental side of your game and you want to work with me personally and all the other awesome girls that I work with, text the word coaching to 844-928-3192. Again, text the word coaching to 844-928-3192, and I'll reach out to you so I can learn more about you, learn what's going on, and learn how I can help you to build unshakable confidence. All right, hope this episode helped you. If it did, let me know, and I will catch you on next week's episode. See ya.